The Good Liars.
The Good Liars?
This is boring.
We're boring.
I will die standing in my boots.
Herschel, I got you some condoms.
What made everyone so weird and sad that they had to come out here?
Mr. President, welcome to the show.
We are the Good Liars, and we are going to tell the truth. Trust us.
All right, welcome to the Good Liars Tell the Truth. I am Jason Selvig.
And I'm Davram Stiefler, and we are the Good Liars.
And we may be the Good Liars, but on this show, we are going to tell you the truth. And today, we are going to be telling the truth about RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., candidate for president,
You
number
knew all
3 in the
the
race.
Initials.
Well, no, I said F. I put an F in there.
Oh, right.
I don't even know. What is it? What is his middle name?
Don't ask me that.
Oh, okay. So, Davram did all the research on this one, but like maybe some of the basic facts, like what his middle name is. If only there was like a search engine or something you could use to figure out this information. What a great start to the episode.
I'm going to think really hard on it. Yeah, it's impossible to find out.
Okay. Before we dive into RFK Jr., I have to ask you a question. Vaxxed? Are you vaxxed?
Francis. I'm going to guess Francis.
Are you vaxxed, Davram?
I'm vaxxed.
That's what people always ask in the comments. Vaxxed?
Why?
I only ask because you look very... You look
When
very...
we interviewed people? I go
No,
pale.
people say that in the comments. You look very pale. You look sickly almost.
Yeah.
Is everything okay? Did you just take a vaccine? I just have to know. It's kind of on brand with what we're talking about today with RFK.
I appreciate
Jr.
you asking. I know that it's only because you're worried about me. This is something going on with the camera that I cannot appear normal, but I'm going with it.
And you had the same problem with your mirrors, right? Like the mirrors are all broken in your house as well.
The mirrors must be from, I don't know, the mirror technology. Yeah, it must be from 10, 15 years ago. They put in the mirrors. It wasn't as accurate. So I look.
There's a giant conspiracy. Maybe this could be part of RFK Jr.'s platform.
Conspiracies. That launches us right into it, I think.
Let's get into it. The truth about RFK Jr.
To announce my candidacy for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States.
All right, let's do it. The first thing I think we should tackle is that RFK stands for Robert Francis Kennedy. And of course, Jr. stands for son of. Is that how it works? You're Jr.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm the fourth. So
you're the
I'm
fourth.
Yeah.
Sorry, you wouldn't. So you wouldn't even know. So why is he important? Why is RFK Jr. important? Well, he's a third-party candidate. He's polling around 10%, so he matters. He matters in a close election, and he's in the news. So we want to talk about him because it's important to know. So he was born.
I just wanted to ask a question before we get started on this. He's polling at 10%. We've talked about the similarities between this election and 2016. Are we sure, not to get too conspiratorial here right off the bat, are we sure this is not Gary Johnson or Jill Stein wearing a mask like Jim Carrey?
No.
Playing Joe Biden? Okay. We're not sure.
We're not sure.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Maybe we'll know by the end of this. So it
Okay.
could be exciting. Maybe we'll uncover something.
I'm excited.
He was born January 17th, 1954 in Washington, D.C. I don't know if that's the same birthday as either of those two people you just mentioned. Not sure. Could be a little
70 years
Easter egg
old,
if it
though.
was
70 years old. Are people worried that maybe he's a little too young to be president? Like only 70 years old. I don't know.
I know I am.
Want somebody under 75.
Yeah, you need enough experience. You need to be over 75 and under 82.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's the window. So getting into his early life, starting on a little bit of a downer, he became addicted to heroin at a very young age. That matters because he eventually went to law school, but he was arrested for heroin possession and did community service at something called the River Keepers Association. So he ended up becoming an environmental lawyer. So people think that this shaped him a lot, spending time outdoors like this. he was obsessed with a variety of things outdoor related, one of which was mercury poisoning from water systems. So that might come back into play later. I know I was shaped by my time outdoors. I grew up in Western Colorado, and spending time outside was important to me. Did you do that?
Yeah, of course. I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
Love the outdoors. Time in Vermont, hiking, swimming in the lake there, Lake Champlain. In the summertime, I love the outdoors. I still do love the outdoors. National parks. We've been to several national parks.
Growing up, we had a thing called the Colorado National Monument. And we would go there, and we would appreciate the beauty. We'd look off of the cliffs, and we would throw rocks off of the cliffs. So
were there people below? Like, why would you throw rocks?
No, because
how do you know?
Because there just weren't. You could see what you can see.
Okay.
It's a small town. There's not a lot going on there. So that was
throwing
one of the
rocks.
activities. You're either throwing rocks or you're hanging out in a gas station parking lot. Grand Junction, Colorado.
Okay.
So a little more about RFK. His father was the Attorney General, later a senator from New York, and people may know this. He was assassinated during his run for president in 1968. Sad.
Yeah, I watched the RFK doc series.
Yeah.
And it was very sad, very sad. The whole situation with him and the momentum he had, and then just killed.
Well, and this came on the heels of his uncle, also a famous K,
Yes.
JFK, assassinated in 1963 while he was president. So this is like a kind of a trying situation for...
We know all about that. We were there. We were there. Well, not when it happened. We were not alive, but we went to Dealey Plaza in
Jason, don't tell people
Dallas.
about us being there.
We actually were on the grassy knoll.
We said we weren't going to admit to crimes on the podcast. That was like part of the deal we made with each other. But you're right. We were there. We went to Dealey Plaza. We saw where Lee Harvey Oswald fired from the window. It's very haunting.
Allegedly fired. Allegedly.
It struck me, though, this whole place was small. The plaza, you see pictures, you think it's big. If you were there, you would have been very close to what happened.
Yes.
It would have been like very horrifically intimate to be there during this thing. Like the grassy knoll is like a tiny hill right there.
What's the name of the video? The only video of it.
I feel like you're going to tell me.
I'm wondering if you remember.
No.
Now I think I'm going to mess it up. Zapruder?
That's sounding familiar.
Zapruder. The Zapruder film.
Wow. The only film. Imagine a president traveling around with only one videotape of them. There's so many cell phones now. So anyway, as we kind of go in on these conspiracies a little bit, it's not surprising that RFK Jr. and the rest of his family would be a little distrustful of the intelligence community, right?
Yeah, and you can imagine why he would battle addiction. Like there's a lot of tragedy in his life.
Definitely,
a lot of people
and
turn to
also
drugs
under a
like
microscope and all the tragedy, and you can kind of imagine how that would take shape. This is a guy who's got a distrust of the intelligence community. He's got a son with severe allergies. He's got this history with heroin, with needles. He's got this experience in the outdoors that make him kind of obsessed with the health of the outdoors, specifically mercury poisoning in water, and all of this.
You can't blame him for some of his conspiratorial thinking.
Do I sound like I'm blaming him?
I don't know.
Blaming him?
I don't know. But it sounded like you were setting up some blame here. But I know you're not editorializing here. You're just giving us facts. I realize
there's a recipe here. A little dash of this, a little dash of that. You could kind of maybe understand why you come out with an anti-vaxx conspiracy theorist. Maybe
I do.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I understand. I get it.
Well, I know what you're wondering. All of this, is from his time previously. But what is he like now? So I have a little video that I'm going to pull up that will show us, a little bit more about what he's like.
pumping some push-ups, shirtless, kind of jacked, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, not kind of jacked, really jacked. Whoa.
Whoa.
Look at that bod.
That's a fit boy.
That is a fit boy.
That
is a very fit boy. He
So-
looks good, but it looked like, honestly, if that was like his third push-up, that was not impressive.
Right.
But I
because
think
he was
he was
laboring
finishing
at
up
the-
a set.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I was like, it seemed like in Anchorman a little bit. It seemed a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the guy. Beefcake, health,
Nice.
health nut,
We need a beefcake
anti-vaxxer.
president.
Yeah, he could be the first true beefcake president. And he announces he's running for president. So I'm going to play the moment that he announced he's running for president.
Moment you've been waiting for. We're all dying to hear from Bobby. So why don't you please make a lot of noise and welcome the next president of the United States of America, Robert Kennedy Jr.
She does not believe that. That is a bad acting by Cheryl right there.
You think she could have sold it more based on some of your time watching her? Bobby.
Hey,
I need my speech.
you
Can't read it. Oh man.
What?
So
That was Cheryl Hines introducing him from Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's his wife, Cheryl, which blows my mind. Blows my mind.
yeah. What did you think when you learned that? That was his wife, this woman you had watched, presumably for years on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It kind of messed me up because they were like in two separate worlds in my mind.
Right.
Like a very funny show, and then this anti-vax guy who was like kind of
Right.
like the black sheep of the Kennedy family. But I will
Cheryl's
say,
like,
that moment, you could have put the Curb music after that, and that would have been a Curb episode. Like, I don't have this speech. I don't have this speech.
I can't
and you
read
could
it.
hear
I
it
can't read
outside.
anything.
Yeah.
Also, like the next president of the United States, it's like it couldn't
You don't believe that.
be any more of a like stop and start moment.
Right.
It's triumphant. Like, I can't read it. I need my speech. He had a campaign ad. This is his first campaign ad. So we're going to give you a little flavor for his campaign here.
House Republicans continue to fight. The left is a cult.
I don't want to hear it from Republicans. We'll beat the out of them.
Time out.
Start helping your party. Anarchy across America. Radical Democrats. Republicans. Republicans.
Whoa. It's peaceful.
Yeah, I was fed up too. And that's why I'm running for president of the United States as an independent. I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I approve this message.
Okay, so what did you think of that?
I didn't think it was a bad ad, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that is something that people are feeling. They're feeling like there's just such a divide in the country and everybody's yelling at each other and there is no working together on anything. And he's trying to...
You're
Thought it was
excited
actually
for the election, but it turns out other people are not. You're excited about it.
I am... no, I'm not. I'm not excited.
You think he's
for the election.
capitalizing on people like being fed up with things and not wanting to see this election, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a smart thing to do.
It is.
It's smart.
Did you notice the outdoor theme again? It's like, these guys suck. Me, I'm outside. I'm hiking.
Yeah, of course I did. It was in the
Yeah.
end. Wow, how could I miss
You
that?
saw
Davram?
it. Yeah.
saw
Well,
it. I watched
it's a theme with him. It's a motif. The way
It's
he
an
speaks
allegory.
a little bit. It's an allegory. You're making a reference to me messing that up previously.
Correct. Yeah.
It's called spasmodic dysphonia. I guess the way he speaks, people don't know what causes it or anything, but that's why he speaks the way he does a little bit. In case you were wondering, so informative here on The Good Liars Tell the Truth.
Yes.
Here he is in an ad. Here he is in an ad that you may have seen during the Super Bowl. Did you see his Super Bowl ad?
Of course I did.
Yeah,
I watched the big game.
You watched the big game. All right.
Yes.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through? A man who's old enough to know
And young enough to do.
well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
American Values 2024 is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
I thought it was an interesting use of $4 million, right? Like, how much is the Super Bowl? $2 million? Maybe it's, I don't know. It's a lot of money to spend for that.
Isn't it a few $1,000,000 for every 5 seconds or something? That's a lot. It's a lot to spend.
It's a lot to spend. Regardless,
I think that was an ad made after JFK's,
correct,
a presidential ad of his, and I don't think his family was very pleased. I don't think the people directly associated with JFK were very pleased, and he ended up apologizing for it halfway and then kind of took it back.
I think he apologized for it, and then he still put that ad as his pinned tweet on X, Twitter. So it's I'm sorry for my family. He was kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth a little bit, being I'm sorry, but also here's the ad, and I'm endorsing it and putting it here front and center for everyone to see. Okay, Davram. So he's an environmentalist guy. He seems to not want to be part of this partisan fighting. Is it bad? Is this a bad thing? Tell me why it's a bad thing. I know you're setting me up for this to be bad.
As I was researching him, I'm like, okay. So we kind of said we understand what maybe made him the way he is a little bit. He's got a perfectly nice little, campaign launch ad where he says he basically wants to give an alternative for Trump and Biden. Is this so bad? Well, unfortunately, there is a downside to all this anti-vax stuff. The data doesn't back it up, and of course, people end up getting sick and dying when they don't take vaccines that are made to help us. I was trying to get a number on, how many lives, for instance, the COVID vaccine saved. On PBS, I saw reported that in the first year of the vaccine rollout, 20 million lives globally were saved. The numbers vary a little bit. But that was just in the first year. So it turns out vaccines are useful, not to mention all the other diseases that have been all but eradicated because of vaccines.
You're saying that as a very pale looking vaxxed dude right now. So I don't know. I don't know if I believe you.
Are you vaxxed, bro?
Why are you asking me personal questions here? Don't come at me with those questions.
Don't do that.
Well, I've never said I'm against vaccines or anything like that.
Yeah, but you were making fun of me for looking vaxxed, which, by the way, I'm the one who can do the splits. So if you're going to try and
prove you're a fit boy. Prove you're a fit boy.
I'll throw up a video one day. If you guys are lucky, I'll pull out any number of videos of weddings I've attended. You can always count on the splits. He's got this anti-vax stuff, and it's well documented. He's written many, many books. One of them was called Cause Unknown. It was co-published by his anti-vax group. He called the COVID vaccine a crime against humanity, pretty strong words.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna pull up one of his tweets about this. Must read in his new book Cause Unknown, the epidemic of sudden deaths in 2021 and 2022. Former BlackRock fund manager Edward Dowd details data showing that COVID shots are a crime against humanity. So he co-published with this guy apparently. It's so sad
that he's got real kids on the cover.
I know. There was one problem. That kid was not vaccinated.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't know about this guy. Now I'm not so... I mean, I like nature. I love walking in the woods.
Nature. If you weren't convinced now that he's fully on this anti-vax raft, we'll call it a raft. We're just talking nature. We're talking rivers.
Okay.
Boat. On the boat, on the wagon.
I was with you for a raft, but sure.
You were
the wagon.
with me.
All right.
By 2019, Kennedy was the leading buyer of anti-vax ads on Facebook. So he's not just one of the voices. He's leading the charge.
Good. He's putting his money where his mouth is, literally.
Yeah.
So maybe that's shows that he really believes this stuff.
Right.
Which is maybe a scarier thing.
Which is scarier.
What did
got
the
me
guy?
thinking
I
about-
talked to some guy in
Yeah.
Florida on January 6, 2022, when they had like a rally to celebrate it, which was wild. There was some guy. I know you talked to the lady who was like, "See sheep surrender," but he was like, "It's like country something vaccine ID was like COVID."
It's like all these conspiracies. It's like the JFK Jr. stuff. It's like, well, they're dropping clues. It's like, but why? Why? Why would they?
Well,
why
that
would
is
they
actually
wanna be
an
caught?
important thing we haven't talked about with this. The JFK Jr. Like,
Yeah.
is there like a crossover with the conspiracy theories with this?
Do I know the number of people who believe JFK Jr. is the acting vice president? The Venn diagram with people who believe the anti-vax conspiracy stuff. I would
That
say
is
it's
what I'm
very.
asking, yes.
I'd say it's quite high based on
Opinion.
you and I.
That is your
going to-
opinion.
Of
Okay.
course, it is. Well, that
Not
would've
in
been a
your
very
research for
interesting
this
thing to
episode.
specifically research.
Okay.
You
Well,
went to Flattoberfest, right?
I did. Of course I did. I mean, I go every
Flattoberfest
year.
being the Flat Earth convention we went to in Las Vegas last year. It seemed like people that were on board with that were on board with not
The vax
in all
stuff.
cases, but the vax stuff, and then of course in some cases every conspiracy, the QAnon stuff. Definitely, you were more likely to run into a believer that JFK Jr. is the acting vice president there than, say, at your average Barnes & Noble or DMV visit. Fair?
All right. Yeah,
All right.
Sure. Yeah.
I went to bring my dog to the vet the other day. I was thinking about this story of RFK Jr. Stopping a random person on a hiking trail and telling them not to vaccinate their baby. Like,
Yeah.
just maybe keep to yourself. Maybe you don't have to say everything you think, you know?
Right.
I was at the vet with my dog, and I saw a guy with a Roadhouse hat on. And I was like, Roadhouse. I was like, did you see the new movie? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, it's really bad, right? And I was talking to him about it, and he was like, well, you know, of course I did work on the movie. That's why I have the hat. And I was like,
That's
I
like the
could have not said
microbiglia.
anything.
Yeah. What I should have said was nothing.
Yeah.
This is the name of his.
That's a good
one of
call.
his specials.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. I don't know what the hell you were thinking of. Well, of course, you would have the hat. Why else would you have a hat?
My brain shorted out. I was
Well,
like,
let me ask you this: was he was like a gaffer? Was he working crew for it, or was he one of the
he
actors or
worked in
writers?
visual effects.
Oh, okay.
But I
cool.
very nearly said, what was with all those really fake punches at the beginning? Almost. I did not say it.
I also want to say that we are doing a podcast on RFK Jr. and we just talked about Roadhouse for 10 minutes. We are saying
I don't
whatever
see the
on our
connection.
mind.
I don't
Okay.
see the
All right.
connection.
All right. All right.
So he's become popular, obviously, with conspiracy types and COVID dissidents is what they're kind of known as, like Alex Jones. And people are starting to support him because he's kind of like this anti-establishment thing. Tucker Carlson, Roger Stone, Mike Flynn, all these right-wingers.
I want to know what Cheryl Hines thinks about this. Like,
There
it's
you
like,
go.
How was your day? How was your day? It's like, oh, it's good. I saw Roger Stone and Michael Flynn and got a thing coming up with Tucker. And I know that she's like super anti-Trump, which is not surprising.
So
but
what
like,
is? That's a great point through her lens. Like, what is this life?
I don't know.
What
And then it's
is
like,
this life?
it's really a turn. And it's like you marry a Kennedy, you know?
You bag yourself a fit boy.
You bag yourself a fit boy. I mean, like Schwarzenegger married a Kennedy too, you know? Like it's a whole thing.
He talks out of both sides of his mouth. You kind of referenced this earlier, but he talks out of both sides of his mouth. He will also say that he is not anti-vax. He's written all these books. He's given these talks. He's the leading buyer of anti-vax ads on Facebooks. On the Facebooks.
Thanks, Dad.
He's the leading buyer of anti-vax ads on Facebook in 2019. He will still say that he is not anti-vax.
Just to play devil's advocate here, Davram, I
would
too
love
am not.
that.
I am not anti-vax. I've never said the vaccine causes any ailments or
Paleness
physical
or anything like that.
paleness. I would never say that, and so I kind of can respect where he's coming from. It feels like he's the victim of this like media blame game, getting the finger pointed at him, calling him a liar, when in fact he's done nothing wrong. That's
Right,
just my 2
right.
cents that I'm throwing out there.
Devil's advocate, or your 2 cents. Your 2 cents, or are you playing devil's advocate?
I'm doing.
Gotta pick
I think
one.
it's a little.
Gotta pick one.
2 cents. 2 cents.
Okay,
Because
2
it is.
cents.
It's not devil's advocate because I believe him. Because I believe him that he's
And-
not
and
anti-vax, and
part of
because
why you might
I've had the
believe
same
him-
slander at me.
Right. Part of why you might believe him is because he points out that all his kids are vaccinated.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you start to think, oh, wait, is he not anti-vax? Wait, he wrote all these books, he gave these talks, he buys these ads on Facebook, but he vaccinated his kids. Why? Well, thankfully on CNN he was interviewed, and they were able to talk to him about kind of this very thing. I'm going to pull up that video here.
And I think we ought to be asking our politicians how they're going to do that. I'm the only politician who's talking about that. I'm the only one who's offered solutions for that.
All right. So you have gained notoriety for your skepticism about vaccines. And over the summer in an interview, you said, quote, "There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective." Do you still believe that?
I never said that.
So stop me. We have the clip. Please play the clip.
Play the whole clip.
You've talked about that the media slanders you by calling you an anti-vaxxer. And you've said that you're not anti-vaccine, you're pro-safe vaccine. Difficult question. Can you name any vaccines that you think are good?
I think some of the live virus vaccines are probably averting more problems than they're causing. There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
Okay. So I know he asked to play the whole clip. There's some stuff in there that he then says, I'm just asking questions. I just want safe and effective vaccines. That's always what these people do, though. He just said in plain words, there's no vaccine that's safe and effective. But then he will also say that he's not anti-vaccine.
Right. Well, I'm not anti-vaccine either. So,
but are you pro-vaccine?
Well, I would never say the vaccine changes the way you look, makes you pale, anything like that. That would never do that. I would never.
You would not do that. No. So you are pro. No, you're anti.
Stop me. You know
Stop
what?
me.
Play the tape. Play the tape. Play the tape. Why did she say
so
stop me?
I wouldn't be mad.
She said stop me. She said stop me.
Stop me. I think she was really ready for this moment, and she meant to say like stop there or something.
Yeah.
And she said stop me.
Stop me. He's like, okay,
so
stop.
I
He's like,
you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here. We can all see it. I don't know if you see it. Do you not see it? You're kind of saying both things. Stop me. Roll the tape.
You're gonna play this. You're gonna play. We'll play the whole thing. Davram, I have to ask you a question. Vaxxed? You look very pale. You look sickly almost.
People say that he does this, and it's kind of a strategic thing. He likes to point to the fact that he's a trial lawyer, and he's good at winning arguments. So how do you do this? How do you have plausible deniability about your anti-vax stance? Well, you just say other things sometimes, and you can always point to those.
I will say he's got the gift of the gab. He talks. He talks.
Right.
And it he feels like
out
he
there
can just
talking.
stream of. But I don't think he's a bit I mean, I know you could say he's got a problem with his voice and all that, but he I think is gifted at just speaking and being engaging while making up bullshit off the top of his head a little bit. So I don't know. Do you disagree with that? You don't think he's
Trump too?
Right? No, Trump too. Well, yeah, but Trump, yeah, I guess. If you're fucking,
I don't know. I don't disagree with you, but I wonder what's the value in that if it's not true.
Oh, I never said there was value. I just said it's a gift.
I don't know. I mean, what should we be taking him seriously? I mean, he did float a few VP picks recently, potential VP picks. Aaron Rodgers was on the list. I mean, should we be taking this guy seriously?
Aaron Rodgers as a VP pick is no. You should not be taking him seriously.
I mean, why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know. It was like a New York Times push notification. It was like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
the other
Rodgers,
name
we floated it.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Right.
McMahon, I ain't got time to bleed, McMahon. McMahon, your toupee there looks great,
famous
McMahon.
person turned politician, governor of Minnesota.
Yes, that made Jesse Ventura feel pretty good.
I was in Predator. I was in Running Man.
Wow.
I was in Demolition Man. I
Maybe
was
if you would
in
have
other
done
films
this
as well.
impression, you could have been in the running yourself. It was Jesse Ventura.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Jesse
Can you
the
just say
Body
his full
Ventura.
name?
You don't
He went to
leave
4
that
years of body school.
Body
to
school,
be a
not
fit
to be
boy.
called
Yeah,
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse
but Aaron
Ventura.
Rodgers,
Who?
why do you think?
Yes.
yeah,
Can we
of course.
please talk about wrestling
Of
for a
course.
second? Thank you, Jesus. Jesse the Body Ventura,
Jesus Christ.
elected independent, won in one of the biggest upsets in modern political history. In I think it was 1998, he won. He became governor of Minnesota. Then, 9 months later, while governor at SummerSlam '99, he is the special guest referee for Mankind versus Triple H versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF World Heavyweight title.
I was interrupting you, and you were about to say that. I'm so sorry
And here's the thing.
To any of the listeners. That is incredible.
What happened in the match was, this is how he called it. And this may be what you'd look at if he was picked as VP, which I know he wasn't.
Right.
Triple H used the chair and right in front of him. And you could disqualify somebody for that, right?
Of course.
I know there's
I mean,
vague
you can't
triple
bring
threat
in
rules in
these
WWF with that. But
props and weapons.
It's not props, they're weapons, yeah. The international object, as they're called, foreign object. They and what Jesse the Body Ventura decided to do was he didn't disqualify him, but he didn't count the 3. He said, if you can cheat, I'm not going to disqualify you, but I'm not going to count.
I'm not going to give you the pin either.
I'm not going to give you the pin. So that might be what he would be like as VP if people
We're wondering what he'd be like as the VP.
So do you think
Folks,
he's tough but fair in a way? I mean, willing to
tough
sweep
but
certain
fair,
things under the rug,
and willing
but
to
also
sweep
fair at the
certain
end of the
things
day?
under the rug, but fair at the end of the day, McMahon.
Wow.
Is it? It sounds good to me.
Is that a good
I
impression?
don't have
We'll
I don't
play
know.
a little bit of a Jesse the Body Ventura. Do a little comparison.
Thank you.
The reason I keep bringing Aaron Rodgers back up is because he was not announced as the VP and may have been disqualified for his Sandy Hook conspiracies that came out. So
Those are the
again,
worst.
if you think this stuff is not harmful, they traffic in the same circles. All of this conspiracy stuff. It's not good. So here you go. He couldn't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. I guess maybe that was the reason. Jesse the Body Ventura. Why wasn't he available?
Because he ain't got time to bleed, McMahon.
All right.
No,
So that
Jesse
left
Ventura.
him.
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I read somewhere. I don't know if this is true. I think a lot of people turned him down, right? But maybe
Yeah,
I'm wrong
I
on
did
that.
read that. Yeah,
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true.
but you don't know if
Unverified.
the Body was one of them.
I don't know if the Body was one of them. We should say that the Body hosted a show on sci-fi or history or something. He had a conspiracy theory show that was just about conspiracy theories. So he's a conspiracy theorist in a way.
He's in the circle too. He's in the circle of trust.
Yes, I don't know I don't know which conspiracy theories, so I don't want to say. I don't want to slander the Body.
You don't want to slander him, but there's a certain magnetic nature to all this. There's a certain circle that people tend to be gravitating toward. So anyway,
but how many times has that happened to Hogan's opponents?
Oh my
How many
word. You're
times?
just sticking with this. You're just, just sticking with it. You can be the Body if you want during this conversation. That's fine, but I do want to move it forward.
There's no ref to make the pin there. But how many times has that happened to Hogan
Good. So
opponents?
you're taking me up on it. So,
Gorilla.
no Aaron Rodgers, no Jesse the Body Ventura. We need someone else to take this very serious campaign into the next phase. So I'm going to play the announcement of the VP, which happened recently.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next Vice President of the United States, Nicole Shanahan.
Meta World Peace. Announcing this big moment.
That's wild.
So we're looking at this rally here. Meta World Peace is just introduced. the next Vice President of the United States. So you can see her on the screen there.
Can we talk about Meta World Peace here for a second? That he is
please.
The kind of the instigator, I guess you could say. The fan who threw the Coke at him or whatever at the Malice at the Palace was the real instigator. Now he's introducing presidential candidates. It's an interesting choice. It's an interesting choice. I saw him at the Live Golf tournament when I yelled at Phil Mickelson. Before that, he was in the clubhouse at the top with like a couple like golfy looking dudes around him. Mm-hmm. And you could tell they were asking him questions about the Malice at the Palace because he was like acting out like what he was doing in it.
He was throwing like air punches.
Yeah. And he was smiling the whole time. He's like, then that guy came over and I punched him. And then I went over there. I was like, oh no, it was that guy. And then I hit, and I was like, I didn't hear. I'm making up what he said. I don't know what he said, but I was just like trying to read his lips. It was wild. He was there hanging out with Trump, I guess.
We're still on topic is the good news.
Yeah.
So her name, the VP pick is Nicole Shanahan. She's a wealthy Silicon Valley lawyer. It seems like it's a play for young voters. Also, she's donated $4.5 million to help the campaign already, so it could be like a source of money.
Smart.
She was previously married to the Google co-founder, Sergey Brin. Hope that's pronounced correctly. So she went on to speak in similar themes that RFK Jr. would, themes of skepticism of vaccines, concerns about chronic disease and corruption in America, calls for a cleaner environment, and the elimination of pesticides and genetically modified foods.
I was just thinking it would be so funny if when she came out there to speak, she like got up there after the introduction, she gets up and she's just like,
hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Nicole
And then she chucks a football past the entire crowd.
Tears her Achilles. So like, oh wow, she's really is the total package here. It's amazing.
Incredible. Perfect pick. You get all of them. So this is the VP pick. Do you think there's any way this campaign goes the distance? That's what we've all got to be asking ourselves. We see the ticket now. We can see RFK Jr. and
you're saying
Nicole
goes
Shanahan.
the distance. Goes the distance. Are you saying that they win? Okay, all right. Because I think that there is a possibility that he stays in the race till the end, but I do think I'm hoping that Cheryl Hines is going to be the mole here to be like, if it looks like it's a close election,
right?
And it looks, or Trump, if the numbers stay steady and Trump is up, that she is going to be like, listen, Fit Boy, please drop out, endorse Biden or whoever the Democrat is, and we can't have Trump again because I know she hates Trump. So Cheryl, if you're listening, help us. You're our only hope.
You think she's the X factor here?
She might very well be. She might very well. And like Larry David might be like able to sway the election is what I'm saying. Actually, if he sits her down and says that. So to answer your question, is it possible for them to go the distance? I think yes, it is possible for RFK Jr. to win the election.
To win?
But to win.
I thought I was kind of asking it rhetorically. I thought you were going to say, no, he can't win. You're saying he can win.
I think he can. What a couple dominoes have to fall, though. Trump needs to just a couple. Trump needs to either, be found guilty of a crime that is, and the trial is damning to him enough to sway the moderate voters to be like, well, we can't elect this felon if any of these federal trials get off the ground. I don't think the Stormy Daniels federal trials.
I thought you said this fella for a second.
This felon. Or felon.
Yeah.
Also, either Joe Biden, just something terrible happens with him, embarrassing himself in some speech, some sort of terrible thing happens with Joe Biden, or he decides he's going to drop out. Whoever takes his place, there's a huge controversy around them. A story comes out where it's like,
oh my, these dominoes are falling.
Dominoes are falling left and right here. And this all has to happen right before the election, where now RFK is the only person you could look at and be like, oh, he's still here. He's on the ballots. He's literally on the ballot.
People are thinking,
that's a Fit Boy. Let's go. Yeah. That's the only way I could see him winning.
So you've laid out a clear path for RFK Jr. to win.
Yeah.
You've also said that you hope
who's the
Hines
guy?
will come to the rescue. And
Who's
you
the
said
guy?
that Larry David
the guy?
might be in charge of the entire election. Who's
Yes.
what guy?
Yeah. The Kornacki, what's his name?
Kornacki, yeah. Oh, you think he's gonna?
No,
lay this right
I'm like
out?
him. I'm like, here's what
Yeah.
happened. So if he does this, and so Larry David's right here, right? So
Right.
that falls in line there.
You have
If
Larry
everyone
David coming in.
bonks
You
their
have
head here.
A bonk here that happens maybe the day before
Right
the
there.
election
Yeah.
or on election day. Well, that's incredible. I mean, I thought there was going to be no way he could win, but you've outlined a very serious plan.
Yes,
It's a very
Yes.
believable.
But Cheryl,
dominoes.
You are our only hope, Cheryl Hines. So please do the right thing. So RFK Jr., Davram, you did a lot of great research here. Can we have a moment of truth and figure this out?
Let's have a moment of truth. Yeah.
Okay, good.
RFK Jr. says he's worried about all of us. That was the theme here. He's worried about all of our food, our media. He's worried about 5G. Most of all, he's worried about vaccines. With his constant contradictions, he often deflects by saying he's just asking questions. He just wants to stop all the bad things from happening. Who wouldn't agree with that? He's just trying to stop us all from getting sick, stop the poisoning of our minds and bodies, whether it's ADD or autism or the lying media or any variety of other illnesses. He just wants to keep us healthy. But what's the truth? Is he really just a nice guy trying to save us? After learning about him, I'm starting to wonder if he himself isn't just another symptom of an ill society. A society that's looking for a savior wrapped in a familiar name who makes them feel heard with his faulty logic and broken science masquerading as healthy questioning of the status quo that result in fewer kids being vaccinated and more conspiracies about mass shootings. Who knows? Maybe they'll develop a vaccine for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice, Davram.
Wouldn't that be something?
Full circle.
Wow.
I loved that. Okay. Yeah, I like because you kind of made it like full circle, you know?
Yeah,
Like you put it
yeah,
in
yeah,
and kind of
yeah.
turn it on its head a little
Maybe,
bit. Which I
just
enjoy.
maybe, they'll develop a Fit Boy vaccine.
I would love that. It's called steroids. They already have
Yeah.
that. Anabolic steroids.
Right.
All right. Well, that's the truth about RFK Jr. We have another whole thing we're going to talk about with RFK on our bonus episode on herohero.co/thegoodliars. You can get it right here down in our description for this episode. Click the link there. You'll be supporting us. You get a feature-length movie too, and all these bonus
Whoa,
episodes.
what?
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Feature-length
It's
movie?
a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a
We're
big
going
deal.
to Hero Hero and subscribing?
Yes. So that was Davram's research project, his school project, his book report on RFK Jr. And you did a great job, Davram. I want to say thank you.
Feels sarcastic, but I appreciate it.
I'm being sincere. Davram, do you have any words of wisdom today?
Keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you.
Also, there's the eclipse. Like, is it people are like gone blind from that, from looking at it during the eclipse? You go
Don't
blind.
look at the sun.
Don't look at the sun.
Don't
Okay.
look at the sun. It's advice. It's a figure of speech, but we should say don't do that.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you, Davram, and thank you all for listening to The Good Liars Tell the Truth.
We'll see you next time, McMahon. We'll see you on the next episode of The Good Liars Tell the Truth.
Believe in Trump and Kennedy. You know, they're the best of iconic America.
What happened to your nose?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but sorry about that.
It's bleeding everywhere. Yeah.
sorry.
You're dripping
No, it's
blood.
okay.